Nara, hi, Nara. Baby girl, hi. You are making the pressure worse.
Nah, cause Nara, I'm on your badly built like an old British light switch ass bitch. Because what do you mean? You over there stealing content from a woman in South Africa and...
Okay, so if by the end of this video I don't convince you that Nara Smith uses some of the darkest, most psychologically manipulative marketing tactics I've literally ever seen used on social media, I will delete my entire account. All I ask...
You got what you wanted, but at what cost? Literally. Like, no.
Do something with it.
It's just money coming to me easily. Money coming in and needing me. Money coming in repeatedly. Money coming, it's just money coming, it's just money coming.
You guys have been looking for a reason to cancel Nara Smith for a while now, and now she's being accused of stealing from another content creator and making money off of it. So Onezwa, a small content creator from South Africa who does a lot of from-scratch cooking, recently called out Nara Smith, saying that for years she's been stealing her content and profiting from it.
For months now, I have watched a very, very popular content creator use my ideas.
And there are a lot of comments actually agreeing with this, saying things like the mozzarella cheese and the boba are all stolen from Onezwa, not Nara Smith cravings like she phrased it. Since according to the internet, Onezwa made boba tea, and 2 days later, Nara Smith did the same thing. So naturally, after watching this video and reading those comments, I had to do a deep dive. So I stayed up watching the last few months of Onezwa's content, and my takeaway was that her content was great, but I really don't see the resemblance. Also, is food content something that you can really steal? I feel like so many people make from scratch videos and are constantly taking inspiration from one another that I don't think it's fair to say that one person stole from the other.
So Onezwa was right all along. Nara posted the video 2 days after Onezwa posted hers.
The inspiration for Nara Smith's content. Onezwa is a creator out of South Africa who makes home fresh meals that she sources from her own farm. And she has a beautiful aesthetic, a beautiful voice, and a nice, calm, relaxing demeanor, just like Nara Smith. Well, two creators with similar content can exist in this world, but the problem came when Onezwa claimed that she was no longer making content because Nara Smith continues to copy her content ideas. Of course, the backlash was swift against Onezwa because everybody's a Nara Smith fan. Could Nara Smith be the type of person who would steal another creator's content ideas? Most people don't believe that. But this creator had a perspective that might make you change your mind.
I see the conversation that's being had on social media, and I'm really disappointed because the points that people that are in defense of Nara Smith are saying, Onezwa's a nobody. Onezwa does not have the following that Nara Smith has. Onezwa is ugly. Onezwa, why would Nara Smith ever steal from Onezwa? Who do you think you are? Basically saying that Onezwa's a nobody and that Nara Smith would never do something like that, which is crazy to me. Because have you guys never picked up a fucking history book? This is what people do who have affluence, but don't have the skill or the innovation or the wherewithal to sit and come up with ideas on their own. They steal from others. To think because Nara Smith is this light-skinned woman who's living overseas and she's married to this white man and she looks put up and the aesthetic is beautiful, that she would never steal from somebody who has a farm living in South Africa like Onezwa is crazy to me. That's the point. She knows that you would think that, so she can get away with it.
Could Nara Smith be that unimaginative that she can't come up with her own content ideas? Well, Nara Smith says she doesn't even know this creator. The internet came up with receipts that show otherwise. In this comment, Nara wrote, "I've never seen her videos, nor do I follow her. I'm not the first or last person to make boba." But someone found a comment she wrote before that said, "I'm so sorry you have to deal with these comments. Your content is so inspiring." Nara Smith wrote that to Onezwa. Most entertainers put on a facade. That's nothing new to the creative world. But this isn't the first time that Nara Smith has been caught in a lie. When Nara and her husband shared their How We Met story on YouTube, she was pretending to be something she's not, and her husband called her out.
When I heard her voice, I was like, wow.
Yeah, because I've never heard your voice before. Maybe I have.
No, you have. Oh, she has. She started...
No, I didn't.
She's scoured the internet for videos of me, trust.
Okay, but that sounds really creepy. I just needed to...
But it is what it is.
Regardless of the drama, nobody's gonna stop watching Nara Smith because she's a vibe that we all need from time to time. But consider the source. Miss Oneswa is a vibe that inspired the vibe that we all love.
Hi, I'm Oneswa, and I make meals using items that I've grown, raised, or foraged.
What do you think of this story? Leave a comment to let me know. I'm Tierica with the T. Follow for more.
Oneswa shouldn't post for 2 weeks and see what Nara comes up with. She noticed.
Mark Jacobs, Nara Smith, this ad is read bar for bar, frame for frame.
Pieces of my toe. Put it in the oven and baked it for about an hour. When I went to the oven to check on my toe, it was perfectly risen. Better than a shop one.
There's a creative on this app, one of us, named Mary Cortland Downs, who shares how she would creative direct brand stories for certain brands, for your favorite brands. There's a whole playlist called Creative Direction. December of last year, she shared the video with that red tote bag that I just interspliced within this Nara ad. One, Nara, if there's content theft smoke constantly swirling around you, there's probably fire at this point. Two, and it's already starting. There's already people in that girl's comments arguing with her as if we did not just watch the same thing. Three, Mark. T-Mark, whether you guys are saving ideas on Pinterest, whether you guys are saving down videos that you see that hashtag your brand, you cannot use other people's ideas for commercial purposes without paying them. This is an ad for your brand. At minimum, it's called an ideation fee. If you were hiring an agency and they were giving you ideas and concepting ideas for you, you would give them an ideation fee, whether or not they were the final producer of the work, whether or not they were the talent that started it. If you had them starting ideas and didn't like them, you'd pay a kill fee. That is agency 101 shit. You guys know that. I would love to know how this was briefed in. I would love to know even just how this idea, this concept was vetted. Did Nara come to you with it in full and pitch it to you? Did you guys come back to her with storyboards and what you wanted her to produce? Explain.
Brad wife Nara Smith is threatening to sue a fellow TikToker for defamation. The 22-year-old, who rose to fame for making meals from scratch and giving her children unusual names, has been accused of stealing content from small creators. South African TikToker Onweza Mbola shared several instances where she posted a video, and then Smith created similar content days later, including making boba tea and mozzarella cheese. In an email to Mbola, Smith wrote, "If you don't retract your statements and cease making defamatory claims immediately, I will have no choice but to pursue legal action." Mbola then shared the email to social media with laughing emojis.
What's that statement? A hurt dog ain't gonna holler, or whatever it says. Y'all, so now Nara Smith trying to come out and sue Oneswa Mobala for defamation of character. Now, this woman, if y'all don't remember my previous video about this woman came forward and said, and proved it with receipts, should I say, that Nara Smith is stealing her content and her ideas. Now, this one right here is from Africa, okay? She's a beautiful African woman, and she makes things from scratch. Like, she'll take corn and make stuff out of corn, all kinds of stuff. Go to her page, by the way. You'll see the videos on her page. Now, she didn't have a big following on TikTok at the time, but Nara Smith, conveniently enough, took videos from her page, or should I say ideas from her videos, and started making the same exact things. Now, it wasn't until Oneswa came out and exposed this information that Nara Smith's now saying that she wants to go ahead and sue for defamation of character. My thoughts on this are, girl, if your videos are so original, why don't you just prove it with receipts, just like Oneswa proved that her ideas were being stolen by you with receipts. One thing I'm gonna say is, like I said, a hurt dog ain't gonna holler, y'all. What y'all think about this?
Oneswa, babe, you got what you wanted, but at what cost? Literally. Like, Nara is not playing games anymore. because she told her that she is ready to sue her for defamation if she does not stop making these videos. And at first when I heard that Nara threatened to sue her, I was like, so where is this gonna happen? But I'm pretty sure that Nara has no problem taking a trip back home to stand on business. And I personally think this whole thing is just ridiculous and a waste of time. And it's crazy because this whole thing has just sprouted from jealousy and envy. Like, Oneswa wants what Nara has. She wants the platform, she wants the money, and she wants the support. But what people fail to realize is that Nara Ben had this platform even before she started cooking on her page. Like, before she was even Miss Making from Scratch, she was a model. She was rich. She was married to a man named Lucky Blue Smith. Like, the first video I ever saw of Nara was just a vlog of her going shopping in the mall with her family. And that's what drew me in, the love that I saw between her and Lucky, her adorable kids, and just her bougie lifestyle. And that's why I thought it was ridiculous when people were saying that their content was similar, because I was quite literally like, where? It's also not Nara's fault that Oneswa is not getting paid for her videos. Like, do you want Nara to start a creator fund in South Africa? And honestly, instead of accusing her of copying her content, this could have been a collab. This could have been a positive thing, because Nara quite literally has nothing to do with the fact that she can get paid on this app. But instead, she opted to play the blame game, and in the process is destroying Nara's and her own reputation.
Okay, so if by the end of this video I don't convince you that Nara Smith uses some of the darkest, most psychologically manipulative marketing tactics I've literally ever seen used on social media, I will delete my entire account. All I ask is that you watch this video until the end with an open mind, and I have a master's degree in business and a specialization in marketing, so let's get into it. So just in case you are living under a rock, Nara Smith is an extremely famous influencer, mommy blogger, and model who has been sort of propelled to fame due to her highly public and highly controversial marriage to another very famous model named Lucky Blue Smith. This marriage was highly controversial at the time because she was only 18, with him being 24, and she has already had 3 children. She is most notably known for sort of creating this very highly idealistic form of fantasy content surrounding themes of motherhood, married life, and of course cooking, where she's become most notably famous for her make it from scratch videos, where she will make the most absurd recipes from scratch that nobody has the time to make, like bubblegum and sunscreen, which is also highly controversial. And she obviously is utilizing rage bait to increase engagement, and this style of content is what she is most known for and has sort of become a parody of itself. So the first dark marketing tactic that Nara Smith employs is something that I like to call strategic neutrality. So if you pay attention, Nara Smith has exclusively and very intentionally chosen to never respond to or engage in any controversy surrounding herself and her own personal brand. And if you want a more recent example of this, she has recently been accused of attempting to sue another TikToker by the name of Oneswa for allegedly stealing her content. So I personally looked into this because I was very interested, and the more I looked into it, the more I realized that this was a completely fabricated lie, and I don't believe that Oneswa ever received an email from Nara Smith at all. So you might be thinking, if this wasn't true, why wouldn't Nara Smith come in front of the camera and obviously defend her name? And the reason for this is that she has a huge team behind her that want to make her what I like to call an empty billboard. So an empty billboard is somebody who has a personal brand that has mass appeal and is universally relatable and appealing to a wide audience and a large demographic that is able to accomplish this without alienating any specific group, which is the most appealing thing to marketers and to brands. Nara Smith's content is designed to be universally appealing, which makes it commercially viable. So basically, because she never engages in any controversy, we don't know her political opinions, we aren't really intimately familiar with her beliefs and her values, there are things that she keeps extremely private, she's able to capitalize on these universally relatable themes of motherhood and cooking, which allows brands to basically co-opt her image and her brand for any product that they have, and it seamlessly fits in so perfectly because there's really nothing to contrast it. So you can really think of it as an empty billboard. It's a blank piece of paper, so anything that you put on it will stick and will integrate extremely well. If Nara Smith, for example, were to sit down and respond to a controversy she's been in, or speak about Palestine, for example, this would immediately shatter the fourth wall, ruin the idealistic perfect image and brand she's crafted for herself, because she would no longer be neutral, broadly acceptable, and highly marketable, which is what she wants to maximize the amount of money she's getting for brand deals, and also the entire ecosystem of management and brand partners and agencies that represent her, because they're also getting a cut of the product that she's selling, which is this perfect form of married life. And basically a billboard for brands to implant their own idealistic images of their brands onto. I really feel if you guys were to fully grasp the actual amount of money that is at stake for a brand deal involving someone as famous as Nara Smith, at a very low, modest assumption, we can assume it's around $300,000. And if we analyze how many sponsored posts she's done in the past 12 months, it's been about 13, which does amount to about $4 million USD a year in sponsored posts alone. I'm not saying this to expose her or to rich shame anybody. God bless anyone making money. I really do not mind. That's not the issue. The issue is the lack of social media literacy when people consume content like hers and understanding the financial incentive behind it. For example, if for every 5 regular Nara Smith videos that she posts, there's 1 sponsored posts, the only reason that those 5 regular posts exist is to create a platform for her to monetize her account. So when you combine this lack of social media literacy, which really just refers to someone's ability to consume and digest content in a thoughtful, mindful way that is understanding the reality that what they are seeing is fake and has financial incentives behind it, combining that with this amazing illusion that Nara Smith has crafted for herself, we enter very dangerous territory in what this could be doing and the implications that this could have for younger women. So really, the issue isn't with Nara Smith herself, but with the fact that so many young women consume and perceive her content at face value with no critical understanding that behind every video that we've seen of Nara Smith, there are a team of people. There is a stylist, there is a management, there's an agency, there are nannies that allow her to have this effortless, seamless life, but that's never shown. If that were shown, she wouldn't have a brand. So I'm not criticizing Nara Smith, but there are real world implications with the type of content that we consume. And if you don't think that media creates subliminal messages that in the future results in people making decisions and choices and aspirations for their life, then you need to take a social studies class because it's objectively true. And if you need proof of this, look at how many women, millennial women specifically, have gotten on TikTok and spoken about the fact that they regret having children. And while it's extremely easy to just demonize them and say, well, that's an awful thing to say, it takes a critical eye and a thoughtful person to think, but okay, how did they get there? Were they misinformed of the realities and the complexities of having children? And aren't we doing society a disservice by presenting such an idealistic and completely unrealistic idea of what it means to be a mother and what it means to have children for 99% of people, which is what Nara Smith's content is? What could that be doing? Because when you read the comments, there are so many young women that have sort of graduated in an interesting way from the girl boss era of the Legally Blonde, thinking that that's the main aspiration, to now thinking that the main aspiration that they should have in life is to have their Nara Smith life of being more domesticated and being in the home and creating a life for themselves that revolves around motherhood exclusively. Before you throw choice feminism at me and say, well, it's her choice to have kids at a young age and to be a mom, of course it's her choice. I'm not taking that away or making my own personal moral judgment on whether or not it was right that Nara Smith got married at 18 to a man she only knew for 6 months and then had a baby 3 months after that. I'm not saying that. I'm simply trying to bring up the real world consequences of young women aspiring to that life, not being informed of the danger of losing their financial independence to a man who may or may not support them in the future, and rushing to have children because you subconsciously accepted extremely fake, fabricated, fantasy level content as reality. And if you think I'm being dramatic, I invite you to go to Nara Smith's comment section and read how many young women have truly internalized this false presentation, this false idea of reality and motherhood and married life, and have accepted it as real and attainable when it's not attainable for anybody, including Nara Smith. Nara Smith, the human being, does not really live that life. It is a highly engineered form of fiction. And in a perfect world, we would all consume Nara Smith's content and enjoy it the same way we enjoy a movie, understanding that it's fake. But unfortunately, the subconscious mind, even when it's watching a film, doesn't understand the difference between reality and fiction. That's why we feel emotionally connected to characters. That's why we get scared during horror movies, or why we cry during a romantic comedy. But this degree of separation between fiction and reality is even slimmer when we're watching social media content, because there are elements of reality. She is married to this man. Nara Smith is her name, and she does pepper in aspects of her life that are real, which tells the conscious and the subconscious mind that what we are viewing is attainable when it is just not. And if you were to visually see the actual team of people behind the curation of Nara Smith's content, you would understand how every minute detail, from the plates that she uses, to the clothes that she's wearing, to the voice that she uses that changed as her content progressed, you would understand that Nara Smith isn't really a person, she's a brand, and she's selling you something, whether it is a product or whether it is a lifestyle. What this is a consumable item, and it should be treated and understood as such. And this is why social media literacy should be something that is taught to young children, mandatory in schools. And just to prove to you how generic and predictable Nara Smith's brand really is, she will be coming out with a cookbook called From Scratch by Nara Smith, filled with infeasible recipes that nobody will ever be able to do, and it will just be a visual coffee table book. Damn it, guys, I ran out of time, so I didn't even get to talk about the one tactic that really makes Nara Smith such a super villain, so I guess I'll probably have to make a part 2 if you want it.
We're talking about Nara Smith. I just spent the last 20 minutes of my watching and rewatching part 1 and part 2 of Be Better's video on Nara Smith. I don't know his name, so I'm calling him Be Better, but I love his videos, especially because I love when people are able to explain complex or at least foreign subjects to me in a way that's so rich and fulfilling. Not to mention the way they cater to every subsection of the issue at hand. And after watching his video, I thought about my old video that I made about Nara Smith, where I said I don't think it was fair to say that Nara was copying Onezwa, because while at the time I wasn't defending Nara, I just assumed that Nara was just copying whatever she thought was popular. And because at the time in my mind Onezwa was not the first person doing food from scratch, it didn't make sense for her to be so mad at Nara Smith. And all in all, it did really seem that Onezwa was upset that she was not getting the monetary value that she could get for her videos, because she deserves it, but she's in South Africa, and that's something that South Africa has to handle with TikTok, not something that Nara could control. But after watching Be Better's videos, I had to sit down and think about the current situation between Nara Smith and Onezwa, where basically what's happening is Onezwa cooked the recipe and a day later Nara Smith cooked it. But you see, this time my perspective is different after watching Be Better's video, because I certainly think that she did this on purpose. Nara Smith is not falling off by any means, but there was certainly a rush and a momentum to her account when Onezwa was in the mix, which obviously the more of us that talk about her bring more people to her page, the more followers she gets, more money she makes, yada yada yada. But shifting my view of Nara Smith as a person into looking at her as a brand has been extremely wonderful, because now I'm going back to her other videos and watching those sponsored posts and the posts that's not sponsored but are kind of sponsored, and it's all clicking and it's all making sense. And while I've never been a diehard fan of anybody, I'm not even a fan of Nara herself, I understand that I need to do some more research on media literacy, and I recommend the same for you guys too.
Nara Smith did it again. What are your thoughts? I have no thoughts. And I have no thoughts because, let me tell you something. When I say this is what they should do, this is what they should do. But what had happened was, Nara figured out that whether she apologizes or not, y'all still gonna support her anyway. Okay? We told y'all a long time ago that Nara was doing what? Stealing content. And everyone was caught up. Sorry, I gotta do a couple edges here. Everybody was caught up on the semantics of, well, their content looks different. It's not copied word for word. It's not copied post for post. So she didn't copy her. Knowing good and fucking well, on multiple occasions with multiple small content creators, specifically Africans, I don't know if she thought that like we just wouldn't see or we would not catch on or what she thought would happen. But we caught the fuck on. But the problem is y'all are still divided. There are some of y'all that are so far up Nara Smith's fucking ass that you will never, ever, ever say, hey, sister, this is a little fucking weird. Everyone, well, she's part African too. Well, she's part, show me. Show me. Yes, she, in theory, is half, right? Does she embrace that culture? Does she embrace those roots? Y'all keep trying to say, well, she's still black. Well, she's still, okay. Like, you guys are acting like she's a part of the black community, like, actively. She is not. She disassociates. So let's call a spade a spade. Is she wrong? Yes. Stop writing for her because she's half of anything. 2, y'all was sitting over there trolling on Onezwa, calling her a liar, a liar, a liar. You're just mad you're not getting paid because you don't live out here. Y'all was literally down that fucking woman's throat knowing good and well, right? Semantics of it. Y'all so caught up in what looks exactly like this and exactly like that. When we're showing you video for video, day after day, these ladies are posting this shit and she is copying it, i.e. Lollipop Woman. Now, at this point, she's doing it to troll. And some of y'all are kikiing, some of y'all are laughing. It's quite literally fucking stealing. And until y'all unfollow and stop watching Nara Smith, y'all need to cancel her the way I was out here trying to cancel the Kardashians. Y'all need to cancel her the same way that y'all be canceling these white folk for stealing black people's content. Because she's doing the same thing. Skin color doesn't matter in this case. And even if you wanted to bring skin color into it, please tell me what she's done for the black community. So that's what your eyes are so caught up on, right? It has to do with race so fucking bad. So bad. I don't think she's done much for the black community. It gives disassociation. It's giving, I'm just trying to live my life of luxury. Yeah, true, she is part African half, if we're being honest. I haven't seen her embrace anything in regards to her culture. Like, so stop trying to use, well, she's also part. No, a spade is a motherfucking spade. Black, white, Chinese, Asian. Bro, Hispanics. She steals content. A content thief. Y'all don't like it? Bro, cancel her and block her. Once she starts seeing them numbers go down, once them brands start seeing them numbers go down, I guarantee you she gonna come out her motherfucking happy ass home and make a public apology or even take a stance. If you don't even want to apologize, fine. To not even address it is disrespectful as fuck. So, I don't know. Those are just my thoughts.
15 minutes while today I combined some brown sugar and water, let that heat up before adding in some tapioca, starch, and black food coloring that thickens up before adding the rest to my 1-2 just so it's easier to handle, and rolled it out before cutting it in small and rolling those into balls. Once my dough was rolled out into balls, I transferred them over to boiling water and let them steeping my rooibos tea. I heated up some brown sugar. Once they were all coated in the brown sugar, I poured them into my glass dice, and my rooibos tea bought was so much better than store-bought boba. You ever had
Am I shocked that Nara Smith is being accused of taking Oneswa's content? No. And the reason I say I'm not surprised is because the platforming of Nara Smith is built off of an aspirational form of femininity. People say that they like Nara Smith's content because she's making all of her things from scratch, but I never really believed that that was the reason that most people like her content. The reason I say that is because I'm African. If you're black, you grew up seeing or have someone in your family who was always making something from scratch. We have so many indigenous dishes that require us to make the entire thing from scratch. Cooking Nigerian food can be a whole evening's worth, a whole day's worth of things because so many things are cooked from scratch. But why is it that when Nara Smith, who's wearing these designer clothes while cooking these things, is somehow seen as feminine because of her making these things from scratch? And I think it's because of the aesthetics that come behind being a housewife. Which I wouldn't even consider Nara Smith a housewife because she's making content. So the work that she's showing you is literally paying her bills, is her work. What really gets me about this whole Oneswa and Nara Smith situation is how many people are quick to disregard Oneswa to uplift Nara Smith. Especially people who look like Oneswa. A lot of black people rather champion biracial people or people who are not black before we champion somebody who is black. And all of desirability plays a big role as to why people see themselves in Nara Smith and why she has a very strong following of people who want to protect her. I think it's interesting when people discuss like, oh yeah, Nara Smith, like she gets attacked by people so we have to stand by her, and if you don't like her, you're a hater. When like Oneswa came out, I didn't see people in droves wanting to stand behind her and protect her. So is it really about protection or is it about desirability?
Come on, guys. Don't y'all know that Nara Smith is not, she doesn't produce any of her stuff? Don't y'all know that she has a production team that comes to her house? They research, they come once a week. They research recipes, they look at the internet, they look at algorithms. It is a production company that is kind of like 7M. They make money off of models and people that they manage their accounts, or they hire them to be the models of it. Do y'all really think that she's shooting, editing, and posting all of her content from her phone? You think that someone with 7 million followers, right now, I was just looking at her account. As of right now, just this month, she's already made more than $50,000 just on her content this month so far. And it's not even over with. So do you really think that she is got a baby and all this, and she's coming up with these recipes and holding her baby and cooking and shooting and perfect makeup? Come on, y'all. It's a production team. That's how the media works. So now supposedly she is suing a TikTok influencer from South Africa named Wanizwa, and I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, Mbola. She is a content creator on social media, and apparently she's been posting her content, and then Nara Smith's team, y'all, who's looking at everybody on the internet, had her to do it as well. And also, they've talked about how Nara has posted under this other content creator's content. Y'all think that's Nara posting? That's not her posting. Those are, it's a whole production team, like I said, that comes to her house once a week, and they film everything that once a week. Y'all think she's traveling with a baby and all that? Who's filming all this stuff? When she was traveling with her baby, who was filming her taking the baby through security and filming her sleeping and all that? She has a production team. There's a production team that's behind her. So now they're saying that she is suing the South African content creator, is giving her a cease and desist of all things on June the 19th, and told her to take her stuff down and stop saying that she was appropriating and stealing her content. And I don't think that it's Nara that's doing it. I think it's the production team looking at everybody's content. I don't think that she just woke up one day and decided to make some bubble gum and they started filming it. I think that this is a production team, a production house. And they were like, okay, it would be good to have her to make this. And they come in there and they make all the prep. And then they go with all of the lights and camera and production teams and all these different camera angles, go and have her put your hand in the bread, roll this. And then they edit it all, perfect color, perfect background, and they post it at the perfect time. So, just know how the media works. Just like when I was a news anchor, I wasn't doing my hair and makeup and they were picking out my clothes for me. I wasn't just showing up at work looking like that. It is the same thing with someone that has 7 million followers who makes probably about so many millions of dollars a year. She's paying people, folks.